Hello everyone and welcome back to A. Marie Cards. We are continuing our little series on the Major Arcana cards. If this is your first time visiting my channel, hello, how are you? We're doing both weekly readings, which I do of course every week, do kind of a 3-card spread, and I'm also doing a series where I'm introducing you to the Major Arcana cards of the Tarot. The Tarot deck, a typical Tarot deck, is divided into the Major Arcana and the Minor Arcana cards, and we're going through the Major Arcana cards. So the next one for this week is it's number 2, but it's the 3rd card because of course the first card is 0, which is the Fool. And if you've missed any of those previous ones, I will put a little sticker up in the corner here for you to get started with the Fool if you wish to see the Fool video, so you get an idea of what this series is, and you'll be able to start back at the beginning of it. So today we have it's card number 2, and that is the High Priestess. This one is one of the more, I like to consider this one to be one of the more mysterious of the deck. There's a couple of them that I put into like the mysterious category, only because they deal a lot with things unseen, things beyond our traditional senses. So for example, this card focuses a lot on intuition, on things like the inner knowing and spiritual knowledge obtained beyond what it is that we typically see with our 5 senses. And if you notice, she has a little crescent moon here. Nearly all of the different versions of the High Priestess card that I have seen have some kind of reference to the moon. She has a moon up here and she has the moon here. So that's one way to kind of tell the High Priestess card. It's usually it's always a woman. The woman is usually sitting on some kind of seat, and there's usually a moon somewhere in the vicinity. That's kind of one of the ways you can kind of tell her apart from, say, some of the other cards we're going to be going into, especially the next card, actually, after this one. And so this moon kind of represents, again, that mysteriousness, and we're going to go into that a little bit more further down the line when we get to the moon card itself. Both of those cards are 2 that I consider to be the mysterious ones. So when a High Priestess shows up in a reading right side up, it usually means that there may be something going on that you may not know about yet. It may be a message kind of from the universe, from the divine, from God, whatever it is that you follow or you're asking to speak to. Some sort of higher power is kind of letting you know, hey, this might warrant digging a little bit deeper, because there's some other things going on here that you may not know about. Depending on what other cards come out around this card, it could mean, hey, stand by, don't make any major decisions yet, we have some more information coming down for you. It could mean be on the lookout, because we're going to show some signs. There's going to be some divine signs coming in shortly to kind of point you in the right direction. But it usually means there is something coming in that you may not be aware of yet that's going to kind of shine light on whatever the situation is. If the High Priestess card is in the reverse, like I've said before, I usually personally do not reverse my cards. That's just me. A lot of readers do. Many of them do. So High Priestess in reverse is kind of like, you might have missed something. There may be in the process of trying to give you signs, and you're not hearing them, or you're ignoring them, or you are currently blocked. You need to do something spiritual to I say this as sometimes you need to do something spiritual to cleanse yourself. Maybe your if you're looking at it from the viewpoint of the chakras, maybe your 3rd eye chakra and your crown chakra are not quite as open as they should be. And maybe you need to do some cleansing to kind of open those 2 in particular up, so that you are more susceptible and open to some of the messages that are coming down for you. This can also sometimes, again, depending on the reading, it could indicate a feminine energy or female presence around you that may be coming to give you some kind of information. some kind of additional knowledge. This has a lot to do with knowledge. Kind of, a lot of people kind of immediately think of the esoteric spiritual knowledge that this one is indicating. But again, depending on what cards are popping up around it, kind of determines what kind of knowledge you should be on the lookout for, what you should be feeling out, what you should or not do with this information. Sometimes I've seen some people look at it as, I don't see it as a negative. I see it as, again, pretty neutral. It just means, hey, there is some spiritual stuff going on, and maybe you're not quite catching all of it. Maybe I've even seen some people kind of read it in the space of like, maybe you're kind of too far, have your head too far up in the clouds. You're so far up in the crown chakra that you kind of missed everything else going down below. But again, that depends on what cards are on either side of this card. If you have cards that are all pretty positive and speaking upwards around here, then it probably means, hey, you are well connected with spirit right now, and you are utilizing that power very well. If you have it in reverse and there are more negative cards around it, or cards that kind of denote, hey, something's going kind of wrong, a lot of times it may mean you need to just do some cleansing of some sort. If you happen to be a witchy girl and you are in a coven, it could literally be as simple as you need to go speak to your high priestess. It could be as straightforward as that. It could mean, hey, whoever is like the female authority for you, if you have a mentor or a high priestess, if you're in a coven, for example, or if you have a minister or pastor, especially when that happens to be female, this could be as simple and straightforward as you need to go talk to her. Like there's something that you need to go, and there's some knowledge you need to get from her. You need to go and pick her brain a little bit. It could be as straightforward as that. It doesn't necessarily have to be just, oh, it's the universe that's trying to speak to you. It could be as simple as, hey, there's a woman in your life who you kind of look at with this kind of regard, who you see as a spiritual authority, as a spiritual mentor. And if this pops up, you're like, maybe you need to go and talk to her, especially if this comes up with, say, like example, a 7 of Pentacles, which kind of gives the idea of apprenticeship and working, or I'm thinking like, what else? Any of those cards that kind of denote an idea of working and having being an apprenticeship or working on things before you get to the money or the career or whatever it is, or whatever it is that you're going for. So it could be that they're kind of telling you, hey, go find somebody who embodies this to you and go and talk to them. Or sometimes, especially if you are kind of currently, in this space where your third eye is open and you feel like you're really spiritually inclined, sometimes this could represent you. This could be them addressing you. This could be like, hey, this is you right now. Remember that the Major Arcana cards, in order, represent kind of life's journey. It's the journey that we go through cyclically over and over again until we finally, pass on from this life. So this could also represent you in the state that you are in right now. Think about that this is coming right after the Magician. The Magician is, we've gathered all the tools together, we know what we need, and now this High Priestess is now going out and starting to get all that information. They're soaking it all up. They're getting all the knowledge. She's holding on to the moon and the mystery, and she's gathering and collecting all of the mysteries and the secrets from the moon. So if you look at it as like this is stages in life, this is the stage where you're starting to learn and gain information. And you have to be open to the information that's coming in for you. So I think that's one of the big messages that I like to pass on with the High Priestess, is being open to the knowledge that is now going to start coming down. You've kind of opened that gateway and made that connection with, say, the Magician and the Fool card. Now it's time for you to actually start listening and hearing the messages that are coming down from, these higher powers. Because think about what a priestess, you think about a high priestess, you think about someone who is very spiritual, very holy, very pious, someone who, regardless of what your religious affiliation is or spiritual affiliation, you associate this with someone who is very much connected to the source, to God, to the divine, to angels, to flying spaghetti monster, whatever it is that you happen to believe in, or even higher self, inner self. This is someone that you associate with being very closely connected to that. they're saying at this stage of the game, this is what you need to be focused on. That inner work. This is the beginning of the inner work. This is the start of it. So, don't look at this stage, so to speak, as intrepidation. When this card comes up, it's an invitation for you to learn and absorb and be a sponge and start learning all that you can from the beings and people, both in the physical realm and beyond, who can help you gain all this knowledge, and listen to them, and actually, read and follow the signs, and absorb as much as you can during this time, because you're going to need all of this knowledge that you're starting to pull together. You're going to need it for the rest of this Major Arcana journey. You're going to need every bit of it, because it's not going to, this is the easy part of it. This is the really easy part. As we get further along in the Major Arcana cards, you're going to see, oh, there's going to be some tough spots coming up ahead. There's going to be challenges up ahead. And the cards do a really great job of reflecting those different challenges that may come up. So I really love this card, because it's kind of the spiritual equivalent of kind of like, okay, you're the studious one now. You got to sit in and vibe, get in vibe. You see how she's like surrounded by all these different little sparkles? That's her kind of being in her Zen mode. She is one with the universe, with God. That's what they're saying you have to get into now. It's time to get into that spiritual mode and get ready and get yourself geared up. So the Magician is kind of like saying you have everything within you. I look at it this way. The Magician is you have everything within you. The Fool was you have all the enthusiasm, you have the excitement. The Magician is you have all the tools. And this one is now you're getting the actual esoteric spiritual knowledge. These first three cards are gearing you up for the rest of the journey through the Major Arcana. So yeah, I really like this card. I like all the cards, of course, but this one's one that for a long time was kind of, I won't say confusing for me, but it didn't seem as straightforward for me as some of the other cards are. Some of them are extremely straightforward. You're like, oh yeah, I know what that means, kind of thing. This one is a bit more mysterious, and I think that's kind of by purpose and by design for it to be more mysterious, because it's literally kind of open to interpretation. What's your idea of gaining knowledge, of gaining spiritual wisdom, of connecting to, be it, God, be it the divine, be it your ancestors, be it your spirit guides, be it gods and goddesses? What does that look like to you? That's what this is kind of embodying. It's embodying tapping into that knowledge and understanding that you yourself by yourself, even though you have the enthusiasm from the Fool, even though you have the material things, you've gathered all these different little things with the Magician, at the end of the day, you're still going to need some assistance. You still need to be tethered to that higher thing, whatever it is that you want to call it, before you start out on your mission. So make sure that you do that, and don't try to act without that kind of, knowledge, because you're going to be going out with only about half the information. And we all know what happens when you try to do stuff and you only have half of the knowledge of what's going on. So whenever you see this card pop up in a reading, that's a good time to kind of check the other cards around and see, hey, do I have all the knowledge that I need? I have the tools, I have the enthusiasm. Do I have all the knowledge that I need? Have I gained all the knowledge that I need? Have I gotten spiritually aligned? Am I set in the right mindset? Am I spiritually in the right energy to go forward with whatever it is that you're asking about? When I see this card, that's what I think about. Those are the questions that I ask. So yeah, that is the High Priestess card. This one went slightly longer because she gets a little deeper than some of the others. I'm really excited about next week's too, because it's going to be kind of a carryover. It's going to be another really strong feminine energy coming in. But thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, I have the readings, or the discussions for the other cards, which was the Fool and the Magician. So you can go and again, I'll put a little little tag up above for you to check those out. And also, I do weekly readings. I try to put them out by like Monday evening, very latest Tuesday morning. I do weekly readings here as well for the week ahead. And so join me for those. And I don't know, there's other things I may be doing further down the line as well. So I have talked enough. I am going to stop now because it's getting very long. Again, thank you so much for joining me. And if you're interested in this deck, I usually mention it. It's the Cute Chibi Tarot Really adorable and really good way to kind of introduce somebody into tarot, and when it's not as intimidating as sometimes the original tarot decks, like the wider rate. Wait, I can't talk right now. You know what I mean? May be. I like this one because it's not as intimidating. Okay, I've been talking too long. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you again next week with the next card in this deck. And take care. Be blessed. Bye.